So, I'm not exactly sure where to begin, but here I am, typing this out because, honestly, I need to know if I'm a heartless person for doing what I just did, or if the universe is simply giving me permission to relish a little in karmic justice. Years ago, my ex-husband walked out on me when I needed him the most. I was pregnant with our child, and instead of stepping up, he told me he wasn't ready to be a father and left. Fast forward to today, and he showed up at my doorstep, holding a baby, begging for my help. Let me backtrack so you understand the whole twisted story. I met my ex-husband, let's call him Mark, when I was 25. He was charming, witty, and we had this instant connection that I thought was unbreakable. We were one of those couples everyone thought was perfect together. After dating for 2 years, we got married. Everything felt like a dream for the first year. We traveled, built our home, and spent countless nights planning our future. About a year into the marriage, I found out I was pregnant. It wasn't planned, but I was overjoyed. I had always wanted children, and I assumed that Mark did too. We had talked about kids in that vague someday kind of way, but I figured we'd roll with it when the time came. I was wrong. When I told him I was pregnant, he went pale. I'll never forget the look on his face. It was like I had just told him the worst news imaginable. Instead of hugging me, congratulating me, or showing any excitement at all, he sat down, staring at the floor in complete silence. I asked him what was wrong, and that's when he hit me with it. I'm not ready to be a father. I was stunned. I thought he was just in shock and needed time to process, so I gave him space, thinking he'd come around. But as the days turned into weeks, he grew more distant. He started staying out late, avoiding conversations about the pregnancy, and acting like everything was normal, except for the fact that we were about to bring a life into the world. One night, about 2 months into the pregnancy, he came home drunk and told me he couldn't do it anymore. He wasn't ready for the responsibility, and he didn't want to be a father. He said that if I kept the baby, he would leave. He said he loved me, but he wasn't built for this. I was devastated. I begged him to reconsider, to go to therapy, to figure it out together. But he was resolute. 2 days later, he packed his things and walked out of our life. Just like that. No looking back, no second thoughts. I was left alone, pregnant and heartbroken. I had to pick up the pieces, figure out how to be a single mother, and most importantly, make sure my child grew up in a loving environment despite her father abandoning us. It was the hardest time of my life, but I did it. I gave birth to my daughter, who we'll call Lily. She's 5 now, and she's my entire world. For the first couple of years after Mark left, I struggled emotionally. I went to therapy, dealt with the anger and sadness, and eventually rebuilt my life around Lily. I worked hard to provide for her, and I made sure she never felt unloved despite her father's absence. And you know what? I was proud of myself. I became stronger than I ever thought I could be. Mark? I didn't hear from him at all. Not a single call, text, or email. He completely vanished from my life. No child support, no inquiries about Lily, nothing. As far as I was concerned, he had died. I didn't need him, and I didn't want him. I was done with that chapter of my life, and I refused to waste any more time thinking about him. I later found out through mutual friends that Mark had remarried about a year after leaving me. His new wife, Jess, was younger, bubbly, and, according to my friends, not interested in having kids. I thought to myself, good luck with that, Mark. Maybe you finally found someone who shares your commitment issues. Fast forward to present day. I had put Mark out of my mind completely. Life was normal, and Lily was starting kindergarten. I had my routine, my peace, and my focus was on giving her the best life possible. Then, out of the blue, there's a knock on my door. It was early evening, and I wasn't expecting anyone, so I was curious. I opened the door and froze. There he was, Mark, looking disheveled, like he hadn't slept in days, holding a baby. A baby! I didn't say anything at first because I couldn't process what I was seeing. Why was he here? And why the hell was he holding a baby? Before I could speak, he blurted out, "Please, I need your help." He told me his wife, Jess, had left him. Apparently, she had run off with some guy she had been having an affair with, leaving him and their baby behind. She had no interest in being a mother and had basically abandoned them. He was now a single father, and he had no idea what to do. His words tumbled out, fast and panicked. He admitted that he wasn't prepared to raise a baby alone and needed help. He asked me, if I could help him raise his baby. I stood there, dumbfounded. Was this some sort of sick joke? This man, the same man who walked out on me when I was pregnant because he wasn't ready to be a father, was now standing on my doorstep with a baby in his arms, asking for my help because his wife had abandoned him. The audacity! He must have seen the look on my face, because he immediately launched into a speech about how sorry he was for everything that happened between us. He said he had made a terrible mistake, that he was scared back then, and that he regretted leaving. He said he knew he had no right to ask for my help, but he didn't know where else to turn. His parents lived in another state, and he didn't have close friends who could step up. He said he thought I might understand because I had raised a child on my own. That's when I snapped. "Karma's a bitch, huh?" I said, with an edge in my voice I didn't even know I had. Mark's eyes widened, and he started to say something, but I cut him off. "You left me when I was pregnant. You abandoned your own child because you weren't ready to be a father. And now you want me to help you raise this baby because your wife did to you what you did to me? You've got to be kidding." He looked desperate, and I could tell he was scrambling to find the right words, but I wasn't interested. I had already given him too much of my time. "Go find someone else to clean up your mess," I said, and slammed the door in his face. I stood there, heart racing, staring at the door, half expecting him to knock again. He didn't. I watched through the window as he stood on the porch for a moment, then slowly walked away, his head hanging low and the baby still in his arms. Part of me felt a strange satisfaction. The man who had once left me and our child behind was now abandoned himself, left to face fatherhood alone. But another part of me felt guilty. Was I too harsh? Should I have at least listened more? I didn't know him anything, I know that. But the look on his face when I shut the door, he looked so broken. Was it wrong of me to turn him away like that, even though he had done the same to me? I know it's not my responsibility to fix his life. He made his choices. But I keep thinking about that baby. It's not the baby's fault that Mark and Jess are terrible people. Maybe I should have shown some compassion, if not for him, then for the innocent child he's now responsible for. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like this is exactly what he deserves. So, Reddit. Am I the a-hole for slamming the door in my ex-husband's face when he came to me for help? He had the audacity to leave OP when she was pregnant, and now he's crawling back because he's in the same position? That's poetic justice if I've ever seen it. OP doesn't owe him a damn thing. Honestly, the fact that he even had the nerve to show up at OP's doorstep, expecting OP to help, shows how out of touch he is. The karma hit him right where it hurts, and OP had every right to shut the door in his face. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Wow, what a wild situation. But I'm curious, did he ever try to reach out after Lily was born? Like, did he ever express any kind of regret before this moment? Or was this the first time he came crawling back? I'm just trying to understand if he's genuinely remorseful, or if he's only seeking your help now because he has nowhere else to turn. The nerve of this man. He walked out on you and your daughter when you needed him the most, and now that he's in the same boat, he thinks you'll just open your arms and help? Nope. He made his bed, and now he has to lie in it. Also, the fact that he didn't reach out to you or Lily for all these years and suddenly comes back when he needs help? That's not regret. That's desperation. You were right to shut that door. Protect your peace and your daughter's well-being. He can figure his own mess out. Okay, not the a-hole for slamming the door in his face given the history, but I also feel like everyone here sucks, except the kids involved. Your ex is definitely the a-hole for leaving you when you were pregnant and for not being part of Lily's life. But I also think about the baby. That kid is innocent in all of this and didn't ask to be part of this messed up situation. I get that you're angry, rightfully so. But maybe there's a way to help the baby without helping him. You don't owe him anything, but it's hard not to feel bad for the child who's stuck in the middle of this mess. Some background. We're half-sisters. She's 15 years old. We had very different upbringings, especially with regard to education and financial planning. She just finished massage therapy school and wants to start her own business. She has no formal education apart from high school, cosmetology, and now holistic health massage therapy. I have an MBA and am an entrepreneur. So far, I've been successful in my endeavors. She asked for my help in starting her business, and I happily agreed. I've been helping her get her tax ID, insurance, bank accounts, website, etc. We meet weekly to work on building her business. She asked to move in for about 6 months to save money. I helped her move, gave her super cheap rent, and have suspended being an Airbnb host while she is with us. I'm even helping manage her various Craigslist ads to get rid of some stuff that's filling my garage. She's lived with us for a total of 3 weeks. She shared her finances, or lack thereof, with me, and I'm trying to help her come up with budgets and strategy. She's upside down on her car, owes more than it's worth. Today, she announced she wants to sell her car on Craigslist and get an Infiniti, new, from the dealer. Her reasoning is not for better gas mileage or lowering her monthly payments. She thinks that an Infiniti will make her feel pretty and will bring her joy. She already has a perfectly fine car, nicer than mine even. I thought she was just staying with me so she could save money, not get into more debt. I feel like she's taking the breathing room and support my husband and I are providing and digging herself a bigger hole. All that being said, we got in our first fight today. She feels like I'm trying to tell her what to do or how to make decisions. I feel like she's making an emotional decision versus a rational one, and it's going to have consequences. Aside from additional debt, one personal consequence is that I won't want to continue going out of my way to help her learn how to be financially independent if she's stuck in a poverty mentality and unwilling to change. She has a long history of making bad decisions, financial, relationships, addiction, etc. I'd like to think that a person can change, but maybe I should keep my mouth shut and let her lay in the bed she's made for herself. What she does with her money is really none of my business, except for the fact that she's living in my house. We have an agreement that she can stay through the holidays. I'm expecting her to have deposit money for an apartment, plus any business startup and reoccurring costs saved, and budgeting for January 1, 2015. The main thing I plan to do is to offer her help with setting up a Mint account, the free financial planning website, so she can have a clearer picture of her financial well-being, and I'm hoping that with the insight, she'll come to her own conclusions that getting into unnecessary debt when she's just starting a business is a bad idea. What else should I do? What would you do in my situation? Update. Thank you everyone for your input. It's helping me devise a plan for moving forward. We have a meeting scheduled to talk on Monday. I've gathered your advice and am considering giving her this letter, with a copy of the room rental agreement I expect to be signed right away. Thoughts? Sister, I'm sorry, but by living in our home for financial reasons, your financial decisions are now our business, since your decisions affect our home life. The trade-off for husband and I to open our home to you is that you are accountable for your financial decisions. Husband and I are giving you a deal on rent because we want to help you improve your financial situation and support you in getting your business off the ground. We're investing in your future because we want the best for you and we believe in you. If you choose to go forward with this car purchase, expect us to limit the support we provide to you, since you clearly do not respect what we are offering. Keep in mind that an Infiniti is expensive, $25,000, 2011 model, requires premium gas, and if you decide to put cheap gas in it, it will mean expensive engine repairs. Taxes on luxury cars are higher. Insurance will be more expensive. Based on the conversation with the representative at the bank just on Wednesday, the $800 tax for California-based LLCs was stretching your budget. If $800 in business tax is an issue, I question how you can sign up for a $25,000 debt without concern. I can't tell you not to buy a new car, but I can tell you objectively that it is not a good decision, business or personal, and I'm concerned that if you buy the car, it will be difficult for you to save enough money to move out, as per our agreed-upon schedule. I'm sad to say, but that you will be a problem, and not mine, as husband and I will be reclaiming our private married life in January 2015. I love you very much. Tell her if she can afford a luxury car, she can definitely afford her own apartment. She has until the end of the month to find one. If you let her stay at all, charge her at least $500 a month for rent, etc. Tell her you will not stand for her BS and will kick her out if she buys the new car, since she apparently has enough money to just impulsively buy crap. If she buys this car and you do nothing, then you are in for hell on earth during the holidays. Update. My sister and I had an hour-long heart-to-heart this morning. She's not getting the new car. Instead, she's refinancing her current car payment for a lower interest rate and will continue to pay the same monthly payments so that more money goes toward the principal. I also signed her up with Mint so she can get a better handle on her finances. After entering all her account information, she started to envision a game plan for saving money for the deposit on an apartment condo and for the car she wants. She now knows exactly how much she should be saving each month to reach these goals. I'm feeling very relieved about the situation and her attitude about changing her mind. And I'm happy that this hiccup didn't end with me kicking her out. So I, 17, just started college this year amidst the pandemic, and I haven't been able to find employment to fund my college life, food, rent, college expenses, etc. So I have been selling things and using my savings to get by, hoping that I can get a job as soon as possible. Just to clarify, my parents, mother and stepfather, my father passed some years ago, just for those that might suggest asking him for help, have not once helped me with my financial situation, and I have never asked them to, but they are aware of it. With that, I am basically dirt poor. I have been living frugally since I moved out, and trying to conserve as much money as possible, and not buying anything that is absolutely unnecessary. I am keeping a small portion invested in the stock market as a sort of hobby, and recently, an investment paid off and I earned a decent little sum that I could live off of for a while. But for Christmas, I decided that I would treat my family with it because I haven't been home since the end of summer and I was feeling generous. My brother, 10, mentioned he specifically wanted something sports-related, so I brought him to a sports shop and let him pick out whatever he wanted with a budget as his Christmas gift from me. The budget was not low, but not awfully high either. He picked out a local sports jersey just on the budget I gave him, and he was happy, so I was happy. For my parents, I treated them to an all-expense-paid night out to a restaurant, and that I would babysit my brother for the night if they wanted to go anywhere after. They ended up going somewhere pricey and getting a full 3-course meal, which, I mean, okay, but I didn't specify a budget for them, so that's on me. But I didn't expect them to go that all out on it, especially knowing my situation. Anyway, it was pretty expensive in the end, but it didn't annoy me. I learned a valuable lesson. Anyway, flashback time. I've been using my PC for my mixed college learning, online 3 days a week. So, about halfway through the semester, my PC's GPU died, and my CPU does not have integrated graphics, so it was essentially dead until I could get a new GPU. I managed to borrow a friend's very old laptop for work, which can barely run Word, never mind games, but it's better than nothing. I told my mother I needed a new one to do college, and I was also missing playing games to relax in my free time, and so I asked her if she could give me money for Christmas, so I could get a new one, as well as have some spare money for food. She told me that a cash gift is rude and impersonal, and that I should ask for something tangible. I was a bit upset at that because she knew how I was doing, but I didn't want to create a fuss, so I asked her if she could get me a new graphics card, anything from a 1060 to a 1080, whatever she could get her hands on. I didn't want to ask for a 2000 series because I thought that would be too expensive, and that I would even be happy with a good condition second-hand card. She said, of course, she would be happy to get it for me, and I was happy. That was why I didn't buy my own graphics card with the money I had made. I was led to believe that I would be gifted one at Christmas, which I was okay waiting for. Well, cue today. I was woken up by my brother very early, usual kid excited for his Christmas present, and so I went with him entertaining him, also excited for my present. He opened all of his presents, and he was given a Fitbit watch, an Amazon Alexa Show 10, FIFA 21 for the Switch, even though he already had FIFA 20, the exact same game which they were aware of, soccer kits, among others. He got pretty much everything he asked for, and they were all pretty expensive. I, on the other hand, opened all my gifts, which consisted of 2 badges, both the same, a phone cover that's too big for my phone, a hot water bottle, a blanket, and some chocolates. That was it. They weren't even like premium ones. They were just standard mediocre ones, and I didn't want or need any of them, nor were they personal or thoughtful at all. I don't like badges, I don't need a blanket, and the chocolates seemed to just kind of be on hand for them to throw in. It seemed like a joke at first, really, so I just joked that I loved the gifts, and then asked where my real present was. They looked at me as if I had murdered someone, and my mother said, "How dare you?" They called me ungrateful, rude, and said I had ruined Christmas because I was so ungrateful towards them. I got so worried and upset, and my throat closed up. I told them that what I asked for wasn't a luxury item, that I needed it to be able to use my computer to do my college work and to be able to unwind and clear my head, and that even if they didn't or couldn't have gotten one for me, they could have told me, because now it's impossible to get one at a normal price for the foreseeable future, and that there is no way I can afford one. They just shouted at me and called me names and told me that I was an awful child basically, and that I ruined everything. So now I am in bed avoiding them, trying not to cry out of both shock and worry for the future of me, my family, my college. I'm so confused, and I can't wrap my head around the situation. They spent hundreds on my younger brother and spent next to nothing on me. I don't know why. I can't even begin to fathom what I did to deserve being treated like this, and I don't know what I'm going to do for the next few days until I can leave. I'm so lost. What should I even do? What can I do? I can't afford therapy before that is suggested, but that isn't even a priority. I just want to be able to do my college stuff in the new year when I go back. Much like your dinner for your parents, you just learned an expensive lesson. Next year, get your mom a pair of gloves and your stepdad a paperweight from the Dollar General. If they don't look thrilled, call them rude for ruining Christmas. Is your younger brother your half-brother or stepbrother by any chance? It sounds like some pretty blatant favoritism. Yeah, he is my half-brother, but I don't call him that. But yeah, he is my stepfather's biological son, and he has always been the favorite. That's nothing really new. It's not the equality either. I don't care about that. It's more about the promise that wasn't kept that will cause me to struggle now. Totally understandable. To me, it sounds like your mom has moved on with her new perfect family unit, and you're an afterthought. I think the best way to handle the situation is, after you're able to leave, go no contact if you can, or low contact for a while. If they're not supporting you financially anyway, you might benefit from a few months of silence. Normally, I find in these situations, your mom will cave to want to talk to you. I doubt she'll actually change her mind, but it might mean this won't happen again at least. Don't spend any more money on your family. Focus on yourself. Invest in your future. Put things together to get to be able to move out ASAP. Utilize whatever resources you can at your college. Ask about scholarships. Ask about on-campus living and when that's possible again. Get help with your resume and cover letters. Look into on-campus jobs, etc. If your parents keep guilting and shaming you, do whatever you can to manage to be out of the house as much as possible. Go on walks, eat at the park, volunteer. See if your neighbors need any help running to the store or something. Do you have any friends in your bubble you can be with? Edit 1. To those saying that I should be happy with what I got because I am almost an adult, bear in mind that you can still give someone a thoughtful gift as an adult to an adult, like I did for them. Saying Christmas is for kids isn't an excuse. They got adult family members better gifts than they got me. Edit 2. To those saying to go no contact, I wish I could now, but I have a puppy here who I love with all my heart. I couldn't bear to go no contact with my family and never be able to see him again. And I can't take him with me because I live on campus. I'm not hiding names because I want them to suffer. So me and my husband got married 2 days ago. It was a very small ceremony and very cheap because of pandemic and money struggles, but got a bit of money from my parents. Me and Matthew, my legal husband, met 4 years ago and he proposed last year on my birthday. We've always gotten on great and I've always trusted him. My younger sister, Jess, and I are quite close. Me and Matthew chose her as one of our bridesmaids. She's always gotten on with Matthew, but never been weird with him. On the evening of mine and Matthew's wedding, in the evening during the disco, Matthew said he was going to the loo. I offered to go with him for a cheeky one, but he was adamant that I didn't go. So I stayed, but I was very on edge about it all. I was going to go and tell my sister, but couldn't find her, so I went looking for her. I went past the disabled toilets in the lobby, but when I got close, I could hear my husband, so I knew he had gone to the toilet, but wondered who he was talking to. I then heard my sister in there as well. I panicked and ran back to the disco, trying not to look in shock. About 20 minutes later, my husband got back and told me he has diarrhea, which was clearly not true. Shortly after, about 5 or 7 minutes, My sister walked back in the room too. I've kind of pieced all this together the best I can. Maybe he really did have a bad stomach, and I'm just telling myself something happened. I haven't confronted either of them, and I'm so scared to. I'm currently staying at home with Matthew, but haven't messaged my sister since the wedding. I don't want to confront him because I'm bad at that, and I don't think my anxiety will help me. I'm absolutely stuck right now and living my worst nightmare. Does anyone know what I can do? Running away would mean not seeing my parents. We have a house together. Do I contact a lawyer? Please help. Okay, but do you know for sure they were having S? You said you only heard talking. I mean, sure, it's all fishy that he would lie to you about what's going on, but you also said you feel like you're making this up in your head. I know, I just placed 2 and 2 together. I know it could be nothing, but my gut's telling me it's bad. Update. Me and my husband split up yesterday after 5 long days of marriage. He basically cheated on me on our wedding day with my sister, and I thought I was playing tricks on my own mind, but then my sister's friend messaged me and told me that they slept together.